All right, guys. Seems like there's still a lot of people having issues with Satin Stitch. So we're going to go kind of right back to the basics and just do a full overview of a Satin Stitch. And, for a lot of you, this is going to be things that I've covered already. For some of you, this is going to be the first Satin Stitch video that you watch for Inkstitch. So I'm going to start very basic. Your very most basic Satin Stitch is a straight line like that, or use this tool. You can make another straight line. Either one, basically do the same thing. We're going to go into fill and stroke, which you get to by going to Object, Fill and Stroke. Make sure there's no fill, and make sure there is a stroke set, and make sure that stroke is about 1 millimeter in width or bigger, and make sure that your your measuring tool device is on millimeter, unless you're going for inches, and you know what I'm talking about when I say millimeter to inches. I don't, and I've learned everything that I need to do in Inkstitch. I've learned to do it based on millimeter, so that's kind of where I'm at. Except for a hoop size, I still say 4" by 4", which is what this is set at. Anyway, sorry for that over extended description. Anyway, we're going to set both of these. Actually, I'm going to set one of these slightly different. So this one's 2 millimeter, this one's 3 millimeter. I'm going to actually convert both of these at the same time. And to multi-select on the image, I push shift. That multi-selects. You can also multi-select in your layers and objects, which you get to by object, layers and object, or layers, layers and objects. Both of those menu options take you to the same exact place now on this version of Inkscape, which is 2 point something. 1.2, my bad. So in 1.2, you have to be on the most recent version. Otherwise, path is a object, layers and objects, and layers, objects. Those are two different things if you're not on the most recent version. That is so complicated. I'm glad they fixed it. I hope they get rid of the multiple menus for the same thing. Back to the task at hand. I'm going to select both of these using shift, go into extensions, Inkstitch, and the most recent version of Inkstitch has tools fill, tools satin, tools stroke. Love this. If you're watching older tutorials, they're not going to look like this, but if you can find the same tool, like tools satin, if you can find convert line to satin, it will do the exact same thing that we're doing here. It's just that the menu structure is just slightly different. So both of these are a Satin Stitch. I'm going to go into Visual Simulator, and we're just going to take a quick look at both of those being a Satin Stitch. Jump to the end. Both of those are Satin Stitch. That is the simplest way to make a Satin Stitch. Now I want you to see, after it converted that line into a Satin Stitch, what this looks like. And what this looks like is a line going this way, another line going this way, and a line in the middle. These two long lines are called rails. This line in the middle is called a rung. Now I can convert that, what I just did, into a Satin Stitch. These three things over here on the right side, those three objects are the three objects that I just drew. I'm going to push shift. After selecting the bottom one, I'm going to push shift, and I'm going to select the top one, which will select all three of those. I'm going to go into extensions, Inkstitch, params, and then again, most recent Inkstitch menu. You have this in the older versions, but the menu structure is a little different. but I'm going to go to the Satin Column tab, and I'm going to click Satin. And it's not going to work because I didn't do everything I was supposed to do. And I'm supposed to be teacher. Such a fail. Okay. After you select all three of those, we need to go into Path, Combine, or keyboard shortcut is Control K. Now that it's combined, now Inkstitch will give us a Satin Stitch. Got carried away, didn't I? Custom satin column, and there's our custom satin column. Beautiful. There is another way to get this exact same kind of satin column, and that's using nodes. Instead of doing rails and rungs, all you have to do is rails, as long as the rails have the same number. The left rail and the right rail have to have the same number of nodes in it, and I'll show you that. I'm going to click here, and I'm going to click here, and let's get rid of some of this unnecessary fluff. Okay, so I just made 2 lines. That's all I did. They have the same number of nodes. There's a node at both ends on both of these. They have the same number of nodes. I'm going to multi-select. This time I'm not going to forget to combine. And then we're going to go into Extensions, Inkstitch, Params, and go to Satin Column, Custom Satin Column. There's our custom satin column. No rails. That's done with nodes. It has to have the same number of nodes. If one of these, the opposite of combine is break apart. So I'm going to come in here and break apart. Now they're 2 objects again, just like they were before. I'm going to select one of them, and I'm going to add one of these up here. Now, oh, you know what? Thank you, person on YouTube, for telling me this, but I can double click and create a node. Whoa! I don't know Inkscape as good as I know Inkstitch. I've explained this before in past videos. I know Inkstitch pretty well. I don't know Inkscape as well. I only know Inkscape as well as I need to use it for Inkstitch. You can double click on a line and get a node. That is so cool. Okay, now, both of these do not have the same number of nodes now. So when I go Path Combine, and then I go try to turn that into a satin stitch, oops, that window popping up in my way is, I think it's a Linux thing. But if I do custom satin column, it's going to tell me it can't. And then when I close the params, it's going to say there's no rungs and the rails have unequal number of points. This is telling you how to fix this. You either create equal number of points or you add rungs. So I can double click that rail right there, and it's already combined, so I don't have to do that again. But now I can go in there just by adding a node. I can go in there and make it a custom satin column. So there's our custom satin column. Sweet, sweet. Now, these nodes indicate which direction that the threads are going to stitch. And show you that just right now, real quick. I moved them a little bit, and you'll see what I mean. As soon as I make it custom satin column again, just like that. Now you can see it's leaning over this way, and then once it reaches the node points, it's going to lean back the way it was. Hit quit. I go hit cancel. So I'm going to drag these back. And something that's cool about doing the nodes is you can just do stuff like this real easy. We're going to look at that real quick. Params. I did it again. And the reason it keeps doing that is because I keep hitting cancel See, it's making a fat satin at the middle and a, hey, I resemble that remark. Anyway, okay. Somebody on a YouTube video of mine and commented, and somebody else confirmed that on their Macs, that sometimes when they create a satin stitch, they get a funny look. And then I'm going to show you what that funny look looks like. So you have to make sure that your rails are running in the same direction. And what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to make a line this way, left to right, and I'm going to make another line going from right to left. We're going to go ahead and combine those two, Control K, extensions, Inkstitch, params. So if you see this funny looking look when you try to do a custom satin column, and it comes out real weird, like it's trying to make some kind of an algorithm, a weird airplane. Words escape me right now. Don't know why. This is actually the Satin Stitch parameters is working in so much as the way that you told it to, or in case of a Mac, for some reason it's telling it to. But the reason it did that is because these are not running in the same direction. So just click one of these rails, go to Path, and reverse. And we just reversed the direction of one of the rails. So in that case, now both of these rails are running in the same direction. And now it's working properly. Outstanding. Okay, so let's do another thing here. I showed you nodes, where the nodes are. That tells it which direction for the lean. So if you're doing rails, it's kind of the same thing. We're going to do a few rails here, and then we're going to select all, combine with Control K, go into extensions, Inkstitch, params. And I am doing this fast on purpose. I'm trying to just blow through it real quick, partly to see how much I can remember and just spew out. So far so good, right? So I'm going to hit the nodes tool, and on the very ends count, it's going to go from this node to this node in that order, and then try to catch up to this one. And we're going to lean that one this way. We're going to lean that one this way. We're going to lean this one that way, and we're going to lean this one that way. Okay. So let's see what this ends up looking like. Zoom back and forth. I hope you can see that in the video. I think you should be able to. And then so what you can do is, if you have a lot of lean one way and then going into another direction, you can kind of ease it in that direction, and then it will flow from one end of the satin stitch to the other. It will just flow in that direction. We'll show you that real quick. Nice. Now it's just kind of neatly leaning into that direction. Nice. Now these are all very simple, just a single straight satin stitch. What if you want to get a little fancier? One thing to think about, in order to convert, it has to be a simple line. It has to be a simple line. It can't be a fill line. If you do, I've got another video that talks about it. If you do a trace bitmap, all of those trace bitmap options except for one will create a fill line instead of a simple line. They will not convert to a satin stitch. It has to be a simple line, just like this tool or this tool. So what if you want to do something that's much more detailed or intricate? So we're going to draw a few things out, a couple of really simple things. I'm going to draw out a star. I'm going to go to my fill and stroke. We're going to give that about a 3. And then we're going to go into extensions, Inkstitch, Satin Tools, convert, line to satin. This is not actually right. Unfortunately, this is not right. And the things that are not right is your rails, your rungs are supposed to cross over the rails. This one does not. So if I move it down here, now it does. And if I move this one down here, now it does. And we have the same thing here. So this one is actually doing the same problem. Okay, so I'm going to go back. Let's go back. This is what it gave us in the conversion. We're going to look at this and see what it does. Matter of fact, if we do a troubleshoot, it's actually going to troubleshoot telling us there's problems. Rung doesn't intersect rails. That is not, if it's yellow, this yellow troubleshoot means it will stitch out, but it probably won't stitch out the way you want it to. So in order to get rid of this troubleshoot layer, it's in layers and objects, and you have a troubleshoot layer right here. All you have to do, make sure you're in that select, and then delete layer. So being yellow, it will stitch, or it will try to stitch. And we're going to take a quick look at it and see what it looks like. And then we're going to fix it to see what it looks like after we fixed it. There's a lot of problems in this. Yeah, it's ugly. Oh my goodness. Let's see what a realistic gives us. Yeah, it's artistic, I guess. Anyway, okay, so let's go in here and fix this. And I'm going to click that, bring it down, click that one, bring it down. This one the same thing, bring it over. This one the same thing, bring it over. Now, yeah, okay. So these three corners are not going to stitch the same as these two corners. Yeah. Okay, let's see what it looks like anyway. Just like it is. And that biggest problem mess that we just saw should be better. Oh, that's so much better. Much better. Now, if you wanted to make these the same, I'll be honest with you, it'd be a lot of trouble. It actually would. Okay, we're gonna pass on this one. Gonna take a pass. Okay, let's do a quick heart. Everybody likes a pretty heart, right? Most people like a pretty heart. So for this one, I'm actually going to turn snapping on, which is something I don't usually do. But I want this to line up exactly with that one. Okay. And now that node's selected, I'm going to hit Control A to select all, and then I'm going to hit the round it around option. Grab this one and pull it down just a little. Turn snapping back off. I'm going to hit this select objects tool. I'm going to hit Control D to duplicate. We're going to flip that duplicate and we're going to drag it over. I should have probably left it on, but that's fine. We're going to go back to the nodes tool and we're going to multi-select both sides. We're going to drag that over. We're going to put those two nodes together. I know I'm going through this very quickly. I'm sorry. We're going to put those two nodes together and now it's one object that is exactly duplicated. We're going to go into fill in stroke, millimeter. We're going to go with a big fat 4 and we're going to go to extensions, Inkstitch, and satin tools, convert line to satin. Beautiful, beautiful heart. It has a minor problem. This node right here. Okay, you see how many nodes there are? Too many nodes to work with. Be careful when you do this because sometimes it causes problems and most of the time it'll make it easier on you. Go path, simplify. Now we've gotten rid of a bunch of nodes that don't need to be there. Now this bar right here is a problem. We're going to drag that over here and then we're going to straighten it up a little bit. Something to that effect there. Now we're going to go in and we're going to hit the select objects. We're going to see what we have. Inkstitch, visualize, simulate. Not too shabby. Not too bad at all. Get realistic. We could do a little fixing right here on this part right here, but other than that, it looks pretty good. Okay. Not done yet. Swipe this away. Now, when you're doing letters always look better as a satin stitch. Letters as a satin stitch can be a pain in the butt because most of the time letters for Inkstitch are not satin stitch. Unless you go to extensions, Inkstitch, lettering. All of these, okay, no, not all of these. Most of these are a satin stitch. Most of these are a satin stitch. And we're going to look at one of them. Let's go with Excalibur. That's a good one. Just throw some text down there. It's something I do on a regular basis. Hit apply and quit. It's going to take it a minute to fill out. There it is. We're going to drag this down. We're going to shrink it up a little bit. You shouldn't do that too much because most of these will only go so small. Embroidery machines do not like small text. Keep that in mind. Okay, we're just going to visualize this so that you know what I'm talking about when I say satin stitch lettering. You can create your own satin stitch lettering is what we're fixing to do. I'm going to show you a real simple way to make a very simple satin stitch letter. And I'm going to zoom this out. There's our satin stitch. I'm going to hit realistic. There's our satin stitch low-tech Linux. And finish out. Okay. So when you're trying to create, I'm also going to introduce you to auto route satin stitch. So when you're making a satin stitch, it's just a super simple way to do it. If you're making something kind of big, we're going to make this letter. It doesn't look great. I didn't put a lot of time into it. I'm going to go 2 mil wide. I'm going to make another line here, right to there, hit enter. I'm also going to go 2 mil wide. I'm going to grab both of these that I just made and go extensions, Inkstitch, satin, tools satin, convert line to satin. It's going to convert both of those to satin stitch. Now I'm going to make sure that that's right. I believe it is. We're going to select both of these again. And then okay. I'm getting ahead of myself. We're going to take a look at what this looks like, just like what it is. We're going to go into visualize and do a preview. So I think it's taking too long, which tells me there must be an error. Rung intersects a rail more than once. So it is, this right here is an issue. So we're going to take a look at these and the rails. Okay. Both of these rungs intersect the rail twice. They can only intersect rail once. It's got intersection here, here, and here. So all we need to do is just pull that down a little bit and then pull that one down a little bit also. And keep in mind, this was the automatic convert line to satin. It does cause problems every now and then. It's just, you're just going to have to learn to work with it and figure it out, or make your own satin, which I do a lot. If you watch a lot of my videos, most of the time I'm creating my own satin. Okay, so let's try to visualize this again. Inkstitch, visualize, simulator. And speed this up. Not bad. This up here is kind of ugly. I'll show you how to fix that too. And then we have a jump stitch, and then, you know, it goes over that. So what we're going to do to fix some of this ugly up here, go into that tool. We're going to drag this down a little further. Let's go a little further than that. And then we're going to give it a slight upward curve. We're going to do the same thing with this one over here, and a slight upward curve. That way it's not going straight into that turn. We're giving it a little bit of a cushion. Okay. So here's where I'm going to show you auto route satin stitch. So what we're going to do is just select both of these. That's both of these satin columns are part of one letter. Then we're going to go into extensions, Inkstitch, tools, satin, auto route satin columns. Most of the time you're going to want to make sure that you don't have checked trim or preserve order. Nothing here is checked. Hit apply. It's going to create a nice little running stitch, and it's going to get rid of that ugly jump stitch. So now we can go back in here, do another visualize. I'm going to show you one more letter and do that again. One more complicated letter. So right here, you can see right here, it created a running stitch to come over here to the right side of that crossover, and then picks back up again with a satin stitch to go back over and then go back up and around. There's no ugly jump stitch. You don't have to take a pair of scissors and cut anything. That's and this turn looks a whole lot better with what we did. So that's something to keep in mind. We're going to do another quick and ugly letter. This letter is going to be one of my arch nemesis letters. It's going to be an E. So I'm literally just going to create most of the E and come all the way around, just like that. Yes, I did it quick and ugly. We're going to set that to a 2, and we'll go ahead and straighten this one up a little bit because it's just a little bit too ugly. And that one. Now we're going to go ahead and create our center piece here, and we're going to also make it a 2. Outstanding. It looks like an E, sort of. Okay, grab both of those items, go into extensions, Inkstitch, do a satin, convert line to satin. That looks a little bit better, a little cleaner. Now I'm going to go ahead and select both of these again, right straight off the bat, and go into Inkstitch and satin, tools, satin, auto route satin columns. We've got our little jump. We've got another one up here. Let's see what we look like. Just like that, we made some decent letters. Sort of decent. Take a lot more time, make a prettier letter than what I did, and it will come out nicely. Just remember, don't make your letters too small. Your machine won't like you for that. It turned out pretty good. Outstanding. Okay, I'm going to show you one more thing, and that is tracing a letter. So we're just going to make A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Let's go with a G. We're just going to make a simple G. We're going to go into text and font. Give me a G. I've already got a G. Let's make it something neat. That's ugly. It's not ugly. I just don't. That's not what I want. That's not what I'm after. That's not too bad. I'm just going to show you real quick on how you trace letters. Okay, we're going to go with that. We'll make it a little bit bigger. I wish it was bolder. Let's go with something bolder. You know what? Go to my old go-to. I used to do this one all the time, except I don't like the letter G. But we can leave some of that tail off. That's what we'll do. Okay, so we're going to go with that one. Yes. Okay, we're 30 minutes into this video. We're going to work on cutting it off pretty soon. So in order to do this, you want to go back to your fill and stroke, and right here under fill and stroke, you see opacity. I'm going to turn the opacity down so that I can see through whatever I'm doing over the top. And then I'm going to zoom in. We're going to grab this little go around tool. What is that called? A Bezier. I knew that. And we're going to just, I'm kind of doing this one a little quicker and dirtier than I would normally do it, but we're just going to go around like so. Yeah. I'm going to hit the nodes tool. We're going to select all. I'm going to unselect that one by hitting the shift button and clicking it again. Now everything else is selected. I'm going to hit my go around. Okay. And this one here, I should have also done that one too. So I'm going to select it and just click this make selected nodes corner. Hit it twice and it will fix itself. So just like that, we've already come around real good. We're going to do the same thing again. Except for this time, I'm going to go ahead and jump over here. You know what? Okay, I'm going to stop right there. And then I'm going to go into the nodes tool. I'm going to reselect this one. And I'm going to delete that one so that it comes here so that we're even all the way around. I'm going to go back to this side. We're going to hit Control A so that we select all. I'm going to hit the shift button and select that node so that it will unselect that node and then hit the rounding. We may have to fix just a little bit like right here. That's fine. And we're going to draw this out kind of like what it is. That's pretty good. Now there's no way, more than likely no way that we have the same number of nodes in that. So we need to draw some rails out or some rungs out. And that's just as simple that it doesn't have to be exact. Just simple as that right there. Now everything that we just drew, this is the text that we made, so not that one, but everything else, we're going to combine Control K or Path Combine. Now it's combined. Go into Inkstitch and Params, Satin Column, Custom Satin Column. Hit Apply and Quit. That one's done. We're going to make it real quick and simple. Now this one here we can do with the same number of nodes. We can do this one here. Okay, that's the two we just made. Hit Control K or Path Combine. Go into Extensions, Inkstitch Params. Satin Column. Hit Apply and Quit. And then we're going to give it that tail. I don't like this tail, and I don't usually do this tail when I'm doing my own custom stuff. But just for completeness and doing this little thing, this little tutorial we're doing here, I'm going to go ahead and give it this tail. Okay, so now I did both of these together. I'm going to go ahead and select both of these. I'm going to hit Control A to select all. I'm going to round it off. We're gonna fix a little bit. This needs to be pulled away just a little and that away a little. Okay, so they're both selected. I'm gonna hit Control K to combine. Go to Extensions, Inkstitch Params. Go into Satin Column, Custom Satin Column. And we got an error. No rungs. Here I am trying to teach you again, and I'm doing it wrong. But you know what? I'm not doing it wrong. I'm showing you what it looks like to get an error and how to fix it. Yeah, we'll go with that. I like that. All right, we'll go ahead. Now we'll Control K. We have to combine that again because all of these things need to be combined into one path. Now we can do a satin stitch. Custom satin column. Bring that around. Oh, outstanding. So now we have, okay, I'm going to go ahead and delete that text below. So now we have 3 working columns to make this one letter. So I'm going to select all 3 of these, go into Extension, Inkstitch, and Tools, Satin, Auto Route Satin Column, hit Apply. Hit Close, and you see that it changed it up a little bit. Did a few things to make it not have jumps, basically. And then we're gonna go ahead and take a look at see what we ended up with. Sweet, sweet. Not bad, not bad. Hit a realistic. Not too shabby. I like it. So that's how you trace lettering. And basically, once you've traced lettering, you can kind of trace anything that can become a satin stitch can be traced using the same procedure that I did here. Phew. I just covered a whole lot of stuff in a very little bit of time. So, had trouble keeping up, go back and watch it again. Pause when you need to. Send me questions. I love questions. Put questions underneath the video as comments. I try to answer everybody. I don't get to everybody, but I try to. I promise I do. If you like what you see here and you like what I'm doing here, please give a like and subscribe. Make an old trucker happy. And until next time, thanks for watching.